Hello, ample players. Reverend here, and this time I have an absolutely astounding and groundbreaking feature to tell you about. Ample Sound have just released a fully integrated tab file player in every Ample guitar, version 1.5 or higher. The tab player lets you load and play tab files in GP3, GP4, and GP5 file formats, with support for more formats coming in the future. What's amazing about the tab file player is that it understands all the fingering, looping, chords, techniques, instructions, and articulations in the tab file you have loaded. No other virtual instrument of any kind can do this, and what that means to us ample players is no more key switches. I'll say that again. No more key switches. Right, let's take a look at the controls. Down here, the track button. In any given tab file, you could have as many as 16 different tracks, and this button lets you select which of those tracks you want to load into this particular instance of ample guitar. Next, a load tab, which is the same as file open. This is where you'll navigate to load your tab file. And then a reload tab button. Now, the reload tab button allows you to work in your source program. I'm showing Guitar Pro 6 here. You navigate with your arrow keys and you put fret numbers on the strings in the usual way. Then you select and choose the articulation that you want. So you're working in here, you're editing in here. When you've finished, you go to File, Export, and you choose GP5. Then you can come right back to this button and reload it without taking any navigation steps. The reload button remembers the location of the file. Now, the Seek button is going to be covered in the very next video. Exciting stuff there. That's a must-see. Look for that very, very soon. The transport buttons, go to first bar, go to previous marker. Now, a marker could be something like verse, bridge, or chorus that you place in your source file. There's a previous measure button. And then finally here, the play stop toggle, which is automated by a note A6. You'll see that from the tooltip. You need to automate the pushing of this button when you generate audio. So you open a MIDI track, you put A6 in it, and when the host software encounters the A6, it will push this button for you. You can also use a low velocity A6 to turn off the play button, to stop it. Transport controls in the other direction, and a loop button on the end. Then these are humanization controls, and this one allows you to reduce the overall velocity in your tab file if those velocities happen to be too high. Now, the velocity humanize introduces a fluctuation in the velocity points either side of your input value. So if my default input is velocity 90 and I choose velocity humanize 10, then my output will be randomized between 80 and 100. In the swing tick control, you can choose a fluctuation in the number of ticks used to define a beat. So in effect, you are flexing the timing grid. And here's strum time. You remember strum time is the speed it takes for the pick to cross the strings, or the speed of a strum. And you can make changes to the way your tab file responds by choosing a value from here, or you can choose fixed by strummer. Now, when I choose fixed by strummer, control is passed to this knob, strum time, found under the strummer display. Next up, I'm going to play a strum demo, and as I do so, I'm going to introduce some ridiculous values here so that you can clearly hear what these controls are doing. Just before I start it, I want to mention that when you are in standalone mode, you need to set the tempo under the options button here in the tempo field. that was pretty obvious. Next, let's take a look at where these symbols and this notation is coming from. You'll notice a downstroke arrow here. This is for downstroke strum, and here's an upstroke strum. When the tab file player encounters these instructions, these strum instructions, it automatically toggles the strummer on. You'll notice that it's off at the moment. So when the tab file player sees these instructions, it takes care of the toggling for you. So no more key switches there. It's toggled on when it sees any strum instruction, and that includes strumming on one string, and it toggles it off when it encounters a non-strummed note, so anything that does not have a strum instruction on it. And as mentioned, these symbols and notation are coming from your source file, and once you have entered some data or loaded a file, you can select a single note and apply an articulation to it. In this case, I've got accents. This is an accented note, and this is a staccato note. You can do it by single notes, you can do it by measures, and when you've finished and saved by exporting to GP5, you load your tab file, and the tab file player will understand and execute all these instructions. Here's let ring, which is the same as a sustain pedal, and I can apply it to this measure simply by choosing let ring. And now it will be sustained right through. Or I can simply turn it off. And all of the articulations that the amp guitar is capable of are in this palette here. And all of these tab file creation programs have the same notation, obviously. So here we can see slides in from below and out from above. They all come from this palette here. Multiple string slides, vibrato and tremolo, special effects, ordinary strums. Here's a slide on the entire, all 6 strings of the guitar. And of course, all the bending is possible. Now let's take a look at Hotel California. As you can see, I have 3 tracks here, 3 MIDI tracks, containing nothing but an A6. Now that A6 is going to push the play button for us. In the first track, I have an Alhambra luthier classical guitar, and I'm in finger mode, so I'm just going to play you a little piece of that. Let's start from here. Okay, that's track 1, and track 1 is selected down here. There are 3 tracks in this GP5 Guitar Pro file, and so that one's taking track 1. Let's take a look at track 2. In this case, I have another Alhambra luthier classical guitar. This time I'm in pick mode. And I'm going to play some of this from where it gets interesting. Let's go from here. Fantastic. And this, the rasguedo, you can see that was created with 2 downstrokes, and crafty use of the strum time control to give us that classic rasguedo with the pop for extra emphasis. Okay, let's take a look at track 3. And in this one, I have an AGT, a Taylor, which is going to take care of the strumming for us. I'm going to bring that forward to the iconic strum. Here we go. Okay, that's a quick look at each of the 3 tracks. What you're going to see next is the file playing with all 3 tracks at the same time, and the interfaces opened as their respective parts begin, so that you can see the engine obeying the tab instructions. And you're also going to see the automated play button. When play is pushed, you'll see let's take a look here, you'll see this play button automatically pushed when the A6 is encountered. So sit back, check it out, and on behalf of Ample Sound, thanks for watching.